Alright guys, we are about 10 days away from the release of Stellar Blade, and this game is getting massive praise, not only from the people who have been looking forward to it because of the lead protagonist, or people who play the demo, but from people like Nier Automata's creator Yoko Taro, who says Stellar Blade is much better than his beloved RPG, which is crazy praise, because I know a lot of people love Nier Automata. He even says that Stellar Blade actually makes him quite jealous, so for somebody who created a game like Nier Automata, which I have not personally played, but I know that a lot of people think that this game is like, top tier as far as the gameplay and quality of the game itself, that's a huge compliment. We're even seeing things like they are making a special Japanese version. They released a trailer for it 2 days ago. I guess it's a Japanese dub, which is pretty cool. I mean, the game's in Korean, so if I was going to listen to it in a foreign language, I'd probably just get the Korean version of it, but whatever, that's cool. Again, I'm not buying the game when it first comes out because I don't own a PlayStation, and I am not buying a PlayStation for one game. Sorry, guys. I've never been a big PlayStation fan. I've got a PC, so when the game comes to PC, I'll play it. But that being said, we are still seeing the usual detractors trying to crap all over this game and the male gaze and us misogynist men. From people like, for example, Alyssa Mercante, who we have a long history of for the last 2 months, it seems like forever now. She's been going after people like Mark Kern and YouTubers who have been covering her, and on Fandom Pulse here we have an article talking about how she's been essentially stalking Grum's Mark Kern when he was a guest on like Hypnotic's stream here. She has been screenshotting and tweeting about these people that are covering the topics, people who aren't even talking about her specifically. It's creepy stalker-ish behavior. It's really weird. She even took this tweet from Fandom Pulse here and made a fake tweet saying that Kotaku's Alyssa Mercante is hot. Just weird stuff. Like, the woman's a little off, if you ask me. But if you recall, when she wrote this article that we've seen 1,000 times now for Kotaku, talking about how Sweet Baby Ink doesn't do what you think it does, she made a point of including Stellar Blade in this article. So if you think about it like this entire Gamergate 2, Sweet Baby Ink detected thing, Stellar Blade has been at the heart of it from the get-go. Not just games like Suicide Squad or anything else, but Stellar Blade because of the comparison between Eastern developers and the way they portray a female protagonist and Western developers, which we've seen way too many examples of. Pretty frightening examples. And so Alyssa has gone on to do guest appearances on different podcasts with different commentators, trying to make it seem like all this Sweet Baby Ink detective people are all just a bunch of bigots and racists, when the reality is it's just people who want a good game made by people who don't hate them. And now we're seeing Shannon Lau here from Inverse promoting this article talking about the male gaze and Stellar Blade. And of course, we've seen people like Khalif Adams, who's a good buddy of Alyssa Mercante's, sharing out this article saying, great piece here on Stellar Blade. Khalif Adams, this is him if you've never run into him on Twitter. He has generally some of the worst takes you will ever find. And of course, this guy's account here, Walter's Hound Izzy, or Veeds tweets on Twitter, this is the actual author of the article we're going to talk about here. He says on here, a lot of people have been talking about Stellar Blade and the male gaze, so I interviewed some academics, played the demo, and wrote about it for Inverse. And the pushback against DEI and Sweet Baby Ink, it's an interesting topic to dive into. Now, I will point out here that Walter's Hound Izzy, or his actual name, let me find the article here, actual name Izzy Vandervelde, is a gay man, as far as I can tell, calls himself a queer Egyptian lover of games, lives in London, England, has written for Inverse and the Gamer, VGC, IGN, Gaming. So a lot of these other outlets that are very controversial, we'll say, or very left-leaning. And of course, it's really weird if you ask me to have a gay man write an article about the male gaze when it comes to women, but we're just going to go ahead and jump into the article itself. So you see here it says, Stellar Blade, the upcoming sci-fi action RPG from Korean studio Shift Up, has been thrust into the center of video game culture wars that seem as old as gaming itself. No, really they aren't. This wasn't a thing when I was a kid playing video games. It wasn't a thing 15, 20 years ago. It was a thing, though, back in 2014 because of very obvious reasons. The fight can be most clearly seen of late in the vocal pushback against narrative consulting company Sweet Baby Ink for pushing to have, gasp, more diverse female characters. Right away, you know that this guy is coming at this from a non-objective, non-journalistic perspective, but trying to basically frame the entire topic to be like, oh, look at these bigots, they're just not wanting diversity. A select few Steam and Twitter users are up in arms. A select few. Now these vocal few are praising the buxom and bouncy protagonist of Stellar Blade. Now, again, I'm going to go back to saying this game has some of the highest current pre-order numbers on PlayStation, as well as some of the most wishlisted numbers. This game is going to set records, and he wants to make it seem like it's a small, tiny percentage of you gamers out there. Eve, they say, evokes a time they miss when women in games used to be titillating and attractive. She caters to the so-called male gaze. If you're a gay man and you're not looking at women, then you're not going to be familiar with this. I'm sorry, Izzy. It's just the way biology works. I don't know what to tell you. An academic term coined by film theorist Laura Mulvey in 1973. Oh, there's a great reliable source there. The male gaze is often portrayed as seeing a scantily clad woman on screen being bad, according to Dr. Matt Denny, a film and television studio teaching fellow at the University of Warwick. Denny adds that the gaze is about an assumed straight male spectator. I say again, if this is about male gaze, why do we have a gay man writing about it? And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm dead honest. Why didn't they go talk to a straight guy? Developer ShiftUp appears to be leaning into the male gaze heavily. On its Twitter account and in interviews, it has made sure to draw close attention to the fact that Eve's body is taken from scans of Korean model Shin Jae-eun's. Game director Kim Hyung-tae justified the choice of body model by saying, "We wanted to come up with the most attractive-looking body for the user." Oh, darn. What could possibly be so terrible about that? PlayStation's promotional material has backed this up with Instagram trailers focusing on the revealing outfits players can dress Eve up in. ShiftUp did not return a request for comment. Good. That's them saying you can go suck it. Denny points out that this is textbook male gaze. Attractive to who, asked Denny. To what gender, what sexuality, what nationality? It's called men. A lot in that choice is assuming a lot of things about who the developers think the player is going to be. While Eve's body was made from a scan of Shin's, her face was made in-house, and Shin wasn't used for motion capture. They didn't choose an athlete or a martial artist or even an actor. You don't want Shin as a performer, you just want her from the neck down. It seems to be very much a statement of the parts of this woman that are of value. She's a model. That's her job. Oh my god, this is a time when academics truly show how brain dead they are. Despite all their accolades and their degrees, they're brain dead sometimes. Dr. Poppy Wild, senior lecturer in media and communication at Birmingham School of Media, explains the male gaze isn't so simple in video games. If we're thinking about gaze as creating a subject position, it isn't the same as just looking at an object because the avatar is a kind of active subject in that as well. Based on trailers, Eve seemed a rather active participant, but the recently released demo paints a different picture. While Eve may demonstrate mastery in combat outside of battle, her absent personality makes her more doll than action figure. And we've heard this too. We've seen this a lot from them trying to say, oh, people just think of her as a sex doll. Look, is there going to be one or two people out there that have one hand on the controller and another hand doing, that's, yes. But that's not the majority of people playing these video games. And those guys will do that over anything. So give me a freaking break. The lack of performance attached to Eve's body has already been noted by internet culture writer Gina Jackson. Eve doesn't seem to have any reaction to her own sexiness. There's no knowing facial expressions, no flipping of her long ponytail, which players can shorten in the options menu. Oh no! She has no idle animation except when she's on a ladder. She just stands there. She's sexy but doesn't know it. She's athletic and acrobatic but entirely controllable. If she did know if she could move for herself, it would shatter the illusion of many of the gamers championing her because she'd have the agency to be able to reject them rather than simply be controlled by them. It's a freaking video game character. My god. I don't know how much more of this I can get through. During cutscenes, the perspective and the gaze changes. There's something there in showing the physical potential of that body type with combat and athleticism. It's not just nice to look at. Then you get to the cutscenes and every single one of these narrative sequences starts with the camera pointed at her bum. That's doing something different. There's also a robot who follows Eve around during exploration segments, shining a light that frequently highlights her behind. Eve's body is both a site of empowerment and objectification depending on how we're invited to look at her or through it. You could think of Eve as the culmination of a long line of characters constructed by the male gaze, explicitly or not. From Lara Croft to the various concubines Kratos beds in the original God of War trilogy sex minigames, plenty of women in video games are designed to be ogled. This is especially true in Shift Up's previous game, Destiny Child, which features lots of anime women players could dress up. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, there's also a peculiar... This is a good one, guys. This is my favorite part. There's also a peculiar type of Orientalism surrounding Stellar Blade. It's a Korean developer. They're in the Orient. Okay. Some are holding up Stellar Blade as an antidote to woke Western games, and many people commented they'd be purchasing a Japanese version of Stellar Blade to secure access to the region-exclusive Japanese dub, despite it being a Korean game with a Korean dub. Is it because that's difficult to get a hold of, so you're a bigger gamer or fan if you can demonstrate that you've gone the extra length to get that version, Denny asks? Is it because there's particular respect for Japanese voice cast? That might be part of these generous readings. Or is it because actually Korean femininity doesn't have the connotations for a Western colonial imagination that Japanese femininity does? It's almost like in order to fulfill the fantasy of puppeteering this attractive woman and putting her in certain outfits and placing the camera just right, she needs to be Japanese. Oh my god. And then, of course, they go on in the article to talk about how it's not true that most of the audience of gamers is straight white men because it's 50% women who play games. I guess they're including Candy Crush and Animal... What's the one with the island, Animal Farm, or whatever the hell it's called. Oh my god. This is so cringe. And again, I'm sorry, you're going to have an article about a video game character who's supposed to appeal to straight men, and it's written by a gay man talking about the male gaze. I'm out. But you know what, guys? Coupon code for Meta PCs, go check them out. Even if you're not ready to buy a PC, look, I'm still working on which one I want to get from them. They've got a lot of cool new cases out. They've got financing available. They're super cool guys. Their equipment is top notch. If you need a new PC, if you're shopping for one, go check them out. Link down below. Otherwise, I'm going to try to live stream again on Friday night, do some Dead Space. So probably be about 9:30 p.m. Pacific time. Make sure to hop in, say hi if you haven't been on the live stream yet. You guys were awesome, and I will catch you next time. Alright, and if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you for being here. I do have two channels, Minimal Effort Podcast, as well as my gaming channel. I do have a Twitch and Kick for my gaming channel. We do live streams over there occasionally, maybe once a week. And then if you are in the market for a new PC, make sure to check out Meta PCs. Click the link I have down below. Use code TBO at checkout for a special discount. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.